The Myanmar National Alliance Army in northern Myanmar captured a nearby esports industrial park and a customs office at the border between China and Myanmar, rescuing a large number of Chinese people in the process. These Chinese individuals were previously known as blood slaves and living donors. They were also involved in internet fraud and operated pornographic content on Twitter. The perpetrators who had been oppressing and harvesting them were dealt with by the Myanmar National Alliance Army. The esports industrial park in Lao Cai, Myanmar, had been a place where numerous Chinese individuals were held as blood slaves, live human harvesters, and sex slaves for over a decade. Despite this, the Chinese government did not intervene or attempt to rescue them. The Chinese government provided support for the water, electricity, oil, and mobile phone signals in the area. The Belt and Road projects also involved collaboration with local military forces. Yet, a significant number of Chinese people remained imprisoned, experiencing severe restrictions on personal freedom and serving as sources for blood and organ harvesting. The Chinese government consistently turned a blind eye to these atrocities. The suffering of these Chinese victims remained hidden from view, concealed by the feigned ignorance of Mao Ning's government. 600 Chinese men and women were trapped in Myanmar. They had long been abandoned not only by the Chinese government but also by the Chinese people and overseas Chinese communities. On October 26, it was reported in Myanmar that the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army in northern Myanmar had captured the Qingshui River port at the China-Myanmar border, rescuing 600 Chinese people and safely repatriating them to Yunnan, China. These 600 Chinese individuals had been the subjects of rumors on Twitter, alleging organ harvesting from living individuals, exploitation as esports slaves, and as victims of various fraudulent schemes, including fewer pornographic tweets recently. It is widely known that many Chinese victims were trapped in Myanmar, enduring imprisonment, enslavement, sexual assault, and live organ harvesting. The Chinese government and Wu Jing had never made efforts to rescue them. These people were genuine victims, abandoned by their own country and people. Their stories were filled with blood and tears, exposing the horrifying reality. Occasionally, such atrocities raised concerns among the public. Regrettably, these cruel facts were often suppressed by the Chinese government, overlooked by overseas Chinese communities, and even ignored by international media outlets advocating for humanitarian causes. This was highly abnormal. These victims had been forgotten and forsaken by their ethnic group, their country, and their fellow citizens. The rescue of 600 Chinese individuals resulted in silence from authorities, both domestic and abroad. Questions remained regarding how many had perished, how many had been subjected to live organ harvesting, and how many were still waiting for rescue. These should be matters of great concern for a country, its government, and its people. The Northern Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army has, on this occasion, successfully rescued over 600 individuals who had been trapped as blood slaves in concentration camps and subjected to live organ harvesting. These rescue operations should have been carried out by the Chinese government and military. However, the Chinese government and military seem to be turning a blind eye to the plight of these individuals, prioritizing personal advancement and wealth rather than fulfilling their responsibilities to the world. Today, these 600 blood slaves, who have endured even more suffering than the women in chains and whose organs were ruthlessly harvested, were unexpectedly rescued by a small military force in northern Myanmar. However, both the Chinese people and the media appear to be neglecting this critical development. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from Understand China, and thank you for tuning in.